Hello and welcome back to Geordie Space Program, episode 2. Now, I think we're going to have to get this disclaimer out the way straight away. We had a major problem with the sound recording on this one. We've had to abandon all the original live commentary that we recorded, so we're coming back to it after the fact and trying to record over the top 3 weeks after we've recorded the video and without actually watching it back properly. My name is Ewok.
And my name is Gonzo, and I would just like to point out that usually we do our recording on a Tuesday afternoon after we finish work. Instead, Ewok calls us up last night, and it's now a Sunday fucking morning, and I'm still in my pyjamas, and drags us around to start doing a bit more audio dubbing here. Which, to be fair, neither of we've got any experience of doing whatsoever, so we'll see how this goes. We're just completely fucking winging it.
Yeah, I'm aware that most people sort of script when they do post-editing audio, whereas we're just make it up as we go along. So we've got no idea the timings of this. I've no idea when this intro screen's going to go away and the actual gameplay is going to start. As a little bit of background to what we're doing here, the plan in Geordie Space Program is to get a Kerbal to the Mun and back again in one piece. We haven't achieved it yet. We haven't got anywhere near the Mun yet.
No.
We're doing it without mods. We have absolutely no mods whatsoever. We're playing vanilla Kerbal Space Program. We are not reverting any launches. Whenever we launch a rocket, we see it through to the bitter end, whether it's a good end or a messy end.
And to be fair, it's I think almost exclusively been messy ends so far, you know.
Yeah, in episode 1 we killed at least one Kerbal.
Look, we're starting.
Whoa, yay.
There we go.
Jesus Christ, what did we talk about for so long?
Fuck knows, I can only barely remember. I mean, to be fair, we did watch the video back a little bit just before we started recording our audio here as well, didn't we? Just to try and get a rough idea. But
yeah, we sort of flicked to various points in the recording. We've got an hour's worth of video. We know here that we're looking at the science screen for some particular reason.
I think that was just recapping on what we picked up last time, wasn't it? We didn't do very well, though, to be fair. We haven't actually shown anything that we're getting there. We just clicked on it and came away again.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember the next bit, because we're gonna click on the science station in a second. Oh, well, not the science station, sorry. We're going to click on the communication station, whatever the hell you call it. Seems like we are wasting a lot of time.
Yeah, your cursor isn't even moving. Look. Jesus.
What the hell was I doing?
This is probably actually when the original video we were kind of just explaining what we've already explained.
You see, I tried to do that really quickly because I wasn't sure how long we spent talking about it and if we'd run out of time. So here, that's the Ewok Loves the Ass mark quotation mark. That's a craft that's currently launched. That's Jebediah Kerbin from episode 1. We tried to get into the Mun.
Missed.
I may have slightly missed the Mun, and he's now in a permanent huge orbit around the planet Kerbin, lost until we can rescue him if we ever do at any point.
I think that's probably going to turn into the longer term ambition. I'm pretty sure we'll nail the Moon the next session that we do. I'm pretty sure we've got to get there, to be fair.
And the next session? Well, that's a massive spoiler that we don't do it on this session. But have heart, dear viewers. There are some exciting stuff happens in this section. We may not complete our objective, but we certainly do a lot.
To be fair, do you think anybody watching this will think that we're going to get to the Moon in this video anyway?
Not if they saw the last one. If they saw the last one. So this is Jebediah. He's having a little spacewalk there at 12. Wow, is that 1.2 million kilometres?
Meters. I think that's 12,000 kilometres. So that's 120,000 meters.
Yeah.
I don't know. These are things that we probably need to know in order to get to the Moon. To be fair.
Well, so, like not knowing how far away it is. Oh, here we go. Here's the business. Now, you'd been trying to suggest to me in previous videos that I just stuck...
You were being a wuss and not using enough rockets.
Exactly, and I think finally, after many failures, I acquiesced to your reasoning and decided that on this particular build, we're going to stick a buttload of rockets on. So that's the Ewok Loves the Ass mark quotation mark. That's the one that got us into the...
shit that we're in.
The shit that we're in with Jebediah. And you're going to have to keep things talking for a second while I run across the room.
I've got no idea what you're doing here. To be fair, he's now just kind of left our recording area as well. You can probably hear him fannying on in the background. He seems to be coming back for the time being.
I'm back.
So it looks as though...
I forgot my nicotine.
Right, okay. So, I mean, it looks as though what we were trying to do, and again, going from rough memory, we wanted to kind of get the thing looking a bit snazzy, so I think we ended up going with this kind of sort of 3 rocket kind of setup with boosters on the outside. Yep, it looks as though that's what we're kind of...
Oh, you're making it sound as if it's just for aesthetics. I mean, you wanted lots of rockets, but I wanted to have lots of rockets firing at the same time.
Yeah.
So to maximise the initial thrust. So with this setup, we've got 6 on the outside and 1 in the middle, so we can fire 7 rockets at the same time.
Yeah, because I think...
Whether that's a good thing or not, I have no idea.
I seem to remember at the end of the last video, I've been kind of pushing for sort of like staged launches, haven't I?
Yeah.
So I know that's still something that I've been fannying on with a little bit in kind of my own kind of personal play of the game. Still not working. Sure, I can get it working at some point, though.
I mean, people probably watch this and think, how can they still not have a clue what they're doing? And bearing in mind, we're recording these at least a week apart, and that's plenty of time where we could sort of go on YouTube and go onto some FAQs and actually learn how to build rockets. But I don't want to do that. I want to learn it myself.
It's not kind of in the spirit of what we're trying to do. I don't feel.
Yeah,
I think it's a voyage of discovery is what we're doing here. Neither have we. I think when we first started recording, I think I had something like about 20 hours into the game, and I think you had maybe a few hours, maybe half a dozen, something like that.
I don't even remember. I think it was maybe 15 or something like that. Okay. Maybe a dozen, maybe 15.
And you could say that gifted players could, in 15 to 20 hours, have worked out what they were doing. But unfortunately, I suppose I don't suppose
but most players tend
to
do a bit of research, whether that's going on YouTube or going onto the Kerbal Space Wiki or whatever, and looking things up. But personally, I think part of our charm is our inability, and I wouldn't want to get rid of that charm by learning how to do things.
Yep, we're set out. Oh God, nearly
all right there, buddy.
Choked on me on phlegm there. That's not great. It is a Sunday morning. I'm still not properly awake yet. Yeah, I think, there is a lot of kind of pro game players out there who can do amazing things on Kerbal. And, why should we, be so pretentious to think that we can compete with that, really,
So we just bumble around and do our own thing.
This is it, yeah.
This will be the part where we're discussing what to name the ship. And we name the ship Fourth Time a Failure. And we name it that because we actually tried to get this recording 4 times.
I think so, yeah.
Before it started working. Because I installed a new webcam on my computer. And it interfered with the graphics card drivers. And the first 3 times we tried to run Fraps, the frame rate just...
Well, getting blue screens and all sorts of shit.
Crashed a bit. And then the last time we got blue screen, had to do a restart. Then after that it worked. It was around about the same time we recorded the... Oh no, we recorded the Octodad video a week after we recorded this video. But we tried to record the Octodad video just before we did this.
That's right, aye. And that royally fucked everything up.
Yeah, I initially thought that it was Octodad that was causing the problems with Fraps, but then we tried to load Kerbal up and had the same issues, realised it was the graphics card, and the only thing I can think of is the webcam that I installed that day. That was the only thing that was different. So here we go, we've got a lot of rockets on, thanks to your design.
Yep.
Can't quite remember how successful or failure.
Yeah, and actually I don't think we pointed this out at the time.
No, we did. This is why we reverted to the Space Centre, because Bill Kerman is in that rocket.
Yeah.
And Bill Kerman died in episode 1.
We killed Bill.
And this is us reverting back to the launch because we're really confused as to why Bill Kerman is in the cockpit, because he seems to have miraculously come back from the dead. We go to here, and he's not there anymore.
That's right, because we didn't even kind of properly pick up on that, did we? And we're like, oh, well, it must have been Bob. Yeah,
and you were saying, oh, I could have sworn it. I could have
sworn that
Bill.
Was Bill.
And I'm going, oh, well, I didn't quite see it. Oh, no, look, it obviously said Bob. But it did clearly say Bill there.
It did.
Bill was clearly in the cockpit when we were on the launch pad 30 seconds ago.
Maybe it's the ghost of Bill.
He's
haunting the capsule.
So, yeah, we're already encountering a few little minor glitches. Nothing to spoil our fun.
Put the little green lights on there, just to reassure.
The old RCS and the old SAS.
Yeah.
We're still not 100% what they do. We think they link other components.
So there we go. I mean, that's not a bad start, really. It's kind of going straight. Everything's burning. That looks all right. 12 seconds into launch and nothing's fallen off yet. So we're doing all right.
It's quite a slow rate of ascent. There is a lot of rocketry on there dragging it down, so it is quite a slow rate of ascent. But even though it is a slow rate of ascent, there's 2 more stages on that. And I believe I built the rocket so that we can hurl off the solid fuel canisters when they're done. There we go, we dropped 1 bit there. That wasn't meant to happen that way, but it worked out quite well.
Yeah,
because it was dead weight. I remember you were shouting at me at that point because the bottom end of the rocket fell off. Ooh, things are sort of...
Yeah, we can say everything's kind of like tipped its way in. You know, like the thrust is kind of pushing everything into the middle there. I think we've kind of balls that up slightly.
Yeah, this is a real balls up. This is where it goes out of control. You can see my pitch and yaw in the left-hand side of the screen as I try and correct it, or going mental.
Then you, eject those, point back at the planet and fire up your rocket. Perfect.
But I do the sensible thing. I knock the rocket off, try and get my bearings. See, I reckon I pulled it back quite well, considering how out of control it went. Now, the fact that it went out of control may have been my fault.
Was your fault.
I blame the designer of the rocket, rather than the pilot.
Was the pilot's fault.
Pilot error.
Clearly what's happened is now we've got Bob in there, and Bob, as you can see, is terrified because there's the spirit of Bill is floating around him and scaring the shit out of him. So technically it's not either of our faults, it's actually Bob's for being terrified, and to a lesser extent Bill's.
Bill's for haunting. Although you could say it's our fault because we killed Bill by crashing him into the ground at big speed. I say we, it was me. I deployed the parachute and forgot to turn the time warp down, and it corrupted the physics, and the parachute flew off and he went into the ground like a dart.
Yeah.
Poor Bill. Okay, well, where are we here? We're coming about 60,000 feet. We ain't got much fuel left in this tank, but...
We've got that little extra stage.
Yeah, we've got the second stage. So I think probably at this phase in the original video, I was probably admitting, you know what, you may have had
a good idea.
A good idea in just taking the basic design and strapping a buttload of rockets onto it. If it wasn't for the fact that I'd spun the ship horribly out of control, it would probably be in a much better situation at this point.
That wasted a shitload of fuel, to be fair.
Well, it did. It wasted a lot of fuel. You see, I'm doing a very clever manoeuvre here. I've went to the 90 degrees to try and correct that bizarre orbit that came out as a result of the initial spin and the dodgy takeoff.
Unfortunately, I think, because really this was designed as like a landing stage, wasn't it? So, if I remember right, it's only got like a fairly sort of namby-pamby kind of engine on.
It's got a wussy engine. Sometimes it can do the job. I remember that this flight doesn't actually get us anywhere, because it's too early in the video for a flight that gets us somewhere. But it's a promising start. It's a design that got us up into the atmosphere easy enough. We're probably a lot higher in terms of our distance above the surface than we needed to be. We probably need to be about 70 to 75,000. We're currently at 80,000 meters, so we've got an extra 10k over what we need.
And this looks as though you were trying to kind of bring your orbit back down. Yeah, you can see kind of as the orbit kind of moves a little bit.
Yeah, at this point we've realised that we're not going to be able to get into an orbit, so we're probably just going to bring it back down as quick as possible so we can get on to the next launch without delay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's me 100% giving in, knowing it's not going to work.
Pointing down. Which, to be fair, as well, isn't a great way of bringing your rocket down in the first place. Anyway, you should just burn retrograde, and that would slow it down and drop it.
That's true. It is the best way to do it, but I think at that point I had so little fuel left. Oh no, we've got loads of fuel left. We just decided that we knew we weren't going to get anywhere, even though we had lots of fuel left, so we decided to pull this one.
We tried kicking the engine in and realised that it was just going to take forever and it was pointless.
Yeah, we could have got into an orbit, but then after that we wouldn't have been able to get anywhere outside the orbit. We've already done all the research we can do from orbit, so there's really nothing to benefit us. And since we don't revert launches, there's only one thing to do, and that's to
bring it down.
Come crashing down.
You left your parachute a bit later. And then you slowed it down. That's right. See, we learned.
We learned. You don't hit the parachute when you're going at a time warp.
I think I started arguing with you that you should put the legs out as well. I seem to remember that was a common theme throughout this video, was me demanding that you put the legs out for everything. Although it looks as though you didn't bother this time.
I don't know, we've got 100 metres yet for me to...
Oh, there you go. See, I won the argument. That's a victory for Gonzo.
You always
got the legs out.
Sometimes I do it just to shut you up, even though I know it's not going to have any actual game effect. Oh, then I do a risky EVA.
That's why you did the high rise, you fucking numpty.
And we thought he was dead because he's not moving. We thought that I'd managed to kill Bob.
And then you nearly landed the rocket on top of him.
Now, I had a reason for doing that. We haven't done an EVA when you're sort of flying in Kerbal atmosphere. The reason we haven't done it is because it's incredibly risky. Because,
and that usually happens.
Because if you fall off, then you fall. Whereas if you're in space, if you fall off, you can get your jetpack on, you can get back to your ship. Your jetpack doesn't work in the atmosphere. So it is risky. I thought I'd give it a go. He survived.
Can't believe he survived that, to be fair. Because that was like a 100-metre dive.
It was a 100-metre dive, but he wasn't going that fast, and he's in the spacesuit, which is quite protective. We got 2.3 science for picking up Bob. Then we nip in and pick up the craft. What do we get?
I got jack shit.
And we got 1.3 science, and it always rounds down, I think. So we are 15 minutes in to episode 2, and we've got, 4 science?
If we're lucky, yeah, possibly 3.
3 to 4 science. Whee! But we were happy enough with the rocket design that I think we went sort of straight back into it, didn't we?
I've just realised when we started recording this...
now look, Bill is back again. Bill is back from the dead.
Lazarus Kerman. So that's right, yes, and then we said, well look, since we've got him, effectively what we're getting here is like a one-up. It's a free life, so we might as well just use him as like the space monkey.
Absolutely. Are we actually sticking him in exactly the same rocket? We've made no edits to the rocket whatsoever.
I think because we kind of worked out that you'd lost control of the rocket, so we kind of said, well look, we can try it again and see if we can get up a little bit higher. I don't think we made much of a change to it, to be fair.
I don't know, it's looking like I'm thinking about going back into the hangar there.
You know what it's dawned on is what I was going to say there before. We didn't do our kind of Kerbal Space Program or Geordie Space Program introduction when we started. I'm kind of a bit gutted about that.
We could do it now.
Should we do it now then?
This is Geordie Space Program!
There we go. I feel much better that we've now got that included.
There we go. Well, I'm glad that we could have
There's people have probably hung on all the way through the first sort of 18-20 minutes of this video just to hear that.
They're probably wondering if they were watching the right video. I mean, without the signature. What am I doing here? I'm dicking around. I'm dicking around.
Dicking around to make it exactly the same.
Yeah, I seem to have took the bits off and then put them back on again. Why?
I think it's because, remember, we blew off the central engine and we wanted to kind of push the engines on the outside down past that, I think. So we didn't fire it off. I think that was the logic behind it.
Or maybe we were concerned that it was slightly wonky and that's what made it go a bit...
Yeah, maybe trying to kind of adjust those...
but essentially we are using practically the same rocket.
In hindsight, it actually looks as though it's going to be way more wonky. Yeah, and that looks way more wonky than the first one did.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of spin. They're kicking out there. They're not liking how high it is, the attachment is, so the force of the thrust is pulling the rockets out a bit. I noticed that I am trying to correct the roll. If I'm looking down at the bottom left where it shows you what I'm doing, I'm trying to counteract that roll myself.
Never a good idea.
It's never a good idea to try and do any sort of manoeuvring while you're still this low in the atmosphere because there's so much resistance to it. By the time you actually get moving, you can't really stop. But yeah, despite the fact that I'm trying to counter that roll, it is rolling pretty heavily. At least it's rolling and not flipping though. You can live with a roll.
What the fuck happened there?
I seem to have released the oh my god, this is going bad. I released the solid fuel rockets too early.
What was that?
I released the liquid fuel rockets way too early.
This is you panicking and hitting space.
This is me panicking because it's going out of control, so ejecting all of the engines. The way I figure it, if there's no engines, if there's no engines, there's nothing to make you go out of control.
It's usually a good idea to turn them off before you just let them go, though. Rather than do that, and then you've just got like deadly projectiles flying around your rocket.
Yeah, but it worked out all right, didn't it?
Strange enough, actually getting rid of all that weight, it seems to have, give her that nice little kind of boost state and see what, kind of what orbital trajectory there's kind of flying up.
Maybe more rockets isn't the answer. Maybe more rockets for the low stage, but maybe throw them away a little bit earlier than we did. Although we are onto the wussy engine pretty much. We're doing not as well as we did with the last... what was it? Fourth time's a failure. Are we still fourth time's a failure? Have we still named the ship that?
No idea.
We'll have to check next time we get a look at it.
I didn't see what change it before.
No, I didn't see what change it. So really, this is fifth time of failure in terms of launches.
I figured. I think it's because we had Bill. Would said, look, we'll fire him up and see what happens. And you felt that you might be able to get a bit better control over it. That's clearly not happening.
It's clearly not the case. I'm wondering how we're going to react to this now. Because we must have had some sort of plan. We've obviously been talking through a plan during that little little bit lapse in the action there.
I'd love to have known what we actually said.
I think we decided we were going to try and land it somewhere, did we? We might be completely wrong. I'm not firing any fuel. I'm waiting
You're just
for
drifting.
the...
It looks as though you're going to try and get in orbit.
Yeah, it looks as though I'm waiting for the apoapsis. I don't know why I would try and get in orbit. I don't think we've got anything to benefit us. But what the hell? I mean, when you're in the
moment,
in pressure, I suppose it's an experiment to see how well things can go. And the little engine, it is dinky, but it can get you there. It takes a little while, but it can get you there. It probably can't get you back again from wherever there is, but it can get you to wherever there is.
You see, I feel as though we kind of fall into two camps, because you very much fall into the kind of the efficiency camp. You want a good sort of like weight to thrust ratio, you think about these things, you consider them, and what I want is to get there quickly.
So you go for the power?
I go, yeah, all in for the power.
Well, you say I go for the efficiency. I kind of do, but I don't understand it.
Well, that's your problem.
So I try and think logically about, oh, well, adding this adds more weight, so this is more efficient. I think about it logically, but I don't know how to think about it mathematically, because I don't understand the mathematics behind it, which is where my fall comes, that I can try my best to work it out using my head, but without using my calculator, I inevitably get it wrong.
I like to pilot from the heart. If you pilot from the head, I pilot from the heart.
And how much success have you had in your personal Kerbal game?
Next to none. I'm kind of like the hopeless romantic of rocket scientists.
But you know that eventually you will get there.
Yep, totally. Got to keep having faith.
So yeah, I'm definitely going for an orbit here.
You know, I tried to take some notes down when we were sort of looking at the highlight reel and kind of speeding my way through the video, and all my notes is loads of rockets again. Why?
Yeah, hang on, my notes, because like I say, we skipped through about maybe 8 or 9 different segments of this video. I'm trying to reach where we are.
Holy shit, we've got an orbit.
Hey, I am once again loads of rockets. Yes, that's what my note says. It's really helpful for any sort of scripting. Got a little bit of fuel left there. Not really enough to...
We're still fourth time a failure as well. It just popped up there.
Yeah, so... Well, we kept the craft name exactly the same.
All we did was shift the decouplers ever so slightly, I think, to try and balance it.
Oh, check this shit out. I'm laying a manoeuvre node. I'm getting ambitious here. With less than a quarter of a tank left worth of fuel, I'm trying to set a course for the Mun.
I'd just like to point out some horrible similarities as to what happened with the Ewok Loves the Ass quotation mark here as well. I believe a very similar thing happened there.
And the problem with the Ewok Loves the Ass mark quotation mark is that I completely forgot how the Mun is represented on the manoeuvre nodes, and I thought I'd set a crash course for it, and I thought we were going to land straight on it, whereas in actual fact we were several thousand kilometres away from it and just shot past it.
You know, this commentary's turned into less of a commentary and more of a post-mortem. It feels as though it's kind of, we could just be there surveying crash damage and going, now what were they thinking when this happened?
Yeah,
how did
what
this
the hell
occur?
was I thinking? This is not going to go well. I've got no fuel. Or rather, we had very little fuel. Look at that. Look at the amount of fuel that's in that tank. I mean, we're clearly not going to get back again if we do get anywhere near it.
See, it's burning away.
Look at how slow that is going.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. If I remember
22
right,
seconds
actually,
left of burn.
When we were recording live, I think we kind of ignored the fuel tank. We're looking at it now, but I think neither of us actually paid much attention to it. We figured we'll have that the little bus rocket on and figured, oh well, it sips at the fuel, doesn't it? We'll be fine.
It's out of fuel now. It's gone.
Frigged.
So Bill is lost in space as well. But he's lost in space. He was dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't count that as a loss, because Bill, effectively, we got a free Bill. That's the one up we got there. So, you know, it was worth a try.
At least now he has a slim chance of eventually getting back to Kerbal. When he was dead, he had no chance. Well, I guess that's the end of that flight then.
And I think that's the end of part 1 as well, I believe.
Yeah, I think that is more or less the end of part 1, depending on how long we spent chatting on this particular screen. Tra-la-la-la-la-lee. Let's have some filler here.
We could just do the old Alan Partridge and just kind of keep chuckling to ourselves quite happily until the end comes on. Wonder when he's going to get back. I can't keep this on forever. I've got no idea how long we kept talking about this.
And this is why, if we did have any sort of sense of professionality, we would have watched the video back properly rather than just skimming through it. But it is part of our ethos that we do things a bit slapdash and half-assed. And I mean,
why did we spend so long just looking at this circle? I've got no idea what we were trying to accomplish just by staring at Bill's terrible orbit.
I've no idea. I mean, I do have the original audio files. They are kind of fucked. They'd never work on the video because they fall out of sync with each other. But you can listen to them back one at a time and try and piece together from half a conversation. Oh, end of part 1!